So, okay. So since it's so little of us, Karen,
Mhm.
you can unmute your phone and just chime in. We can make it interaction based. Since it's so little of us, it's just the four of us here. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. So it's the four of us here, so we can make it conversational. Javon,
Yes.
you're on. Icebreaker
I'm
or not?
sorry.
Javon, you're
Icebreaker.
on.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
You want to do? Yes, I
Yeah,
think we
yes,
should do our icebreaker.
yes.
Um, which I don't remember what it was, but it was the fruit thing. I'm sorry.
Okay. Um, this is a webinar series on fostering esteem, setting boundaries, and building and setting goals. So, icebreaker for ladies, what is
Mhm.
one boundary that you find yourself often letting down for people? What is one boundary that you have for yourself that you would like to work on keeping set, but you know you let it go down?
I'll go first. I'm Jovan. Hi, everyone. Good morning. The boundary that I let down that I would like to be better about is my personal space. I
Mm,
allow my family to invade my personal space a lot.
okay. This is Rashida. The boundary that I set is similar to yours, Javon. Is
Hmm.
my personal time. Too often,
Right.
I will let I will say, I'm not going to pick up the phone between this time. I'm not
Hmm.
available. And then when someone calls, boom, I pick the phone up and then my night is gone. All right.
Yep.
Okay, this is Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, everyone. I think my boundary is not letting people get me flustered. I don't want to get flustered all the time. I don't want to go from 0 to 60, but people take me there like almost all the time. So I don't know. I can't help it. I get ruffled real fast, real fast. I don't know what that's about.
Well, hopefully we're going to work on that today
Yes.
and get some tips on it. Um, Tiffany?
My boundaries. Always worrying about other people, worrying about other people, and always saying yes to other people, and not
Mm,
worrying about myself.
that's
Oh
a
wow,
common
that's a
boundary
good
that,
one.
yeah, that women, as women, we
Mm.
we always, as women,
Yep.
I guess we're socialized to
Mhm.
always be agreeable because that's being a good girl in air quotes.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about that. So let us begin. Javon, you're on.
Hey everyone. Good morning. This is a workshop about creating a positive outlook for the disabled woman. So the objectives we're going to speak about is what is blind vision incorporated, what is self-esteem, type of self-esteem, characteristics of high self-esteem, characteristics of low self-esteem, tips for boosting self-esteem, boundaries and the importance of setting them, protecting your boundaries, factors that influence your boundaries, rules for setting healthy boundaries, what are goals, the importance of, I'm sorry, my phone is going in and out. What are the importance of goals, reasons why goals don't work, and tips on attaining goals. So first thing we're going to discuss is what is Blind Vision Inc. We are a charitable organization for disabled women by disabled women. And what does Blind Vision Inc. do? We provide services to women through resources, referrals, mentorship, support groups, education, workshops, and disability advocacy. And next is Rashida.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys heard it. I don't know if you said it, Javon. I could have been daydreaming. I'm human. The beautiful the beautiful part about Blind Vision Inc. It is owned, operated, run by women with disabilities for women
hmm
with
With
disabilities.
this, I
There's
did say that.
no organization around like this, no matter where you go on the planet. There's no other organization like Blind Vision Inc. And even though um, you can look at the term blind vision under many different ways. Yes, we're all blind or low vision, but blind also means void of sight. And a lot of times as women and as women with disabilities, and the beautiful part about Blind Vision, this is a minority run organization also. So all of the women are African American that run Blind Vision. All of us are disabled and all of us are women. So we're like a triple threat or triple no-no, as I like to say when it comes to society. So we have the vision or the foresight to start this company, and we work with people like you, Karen. And the beautiful part about Blind Vision Inc. is all free. So free is a great thing. Free 99 is my favorite. So we will be presenting workshops. We have a plan that we will be doing a workshop once a month on women. And every month, we're going to accentuate womanhood. Too often, as women with disabilities, they want us to concentrate on the disability and not the womanhood. Do you see what I'm saying, Karen? So we are accentuating the womanhood, the beautiful part about being a woman first, disabled second. So every month, we will be doing a woman empowerment workshop. So like Javon said, this workshop is on fostering self-esteem, obtaining, setting up boundaries, and obtaining goals. Now, for a self, we hear this term all the time. Self-esteem. What is esteem? Self-esteem. What do you ladies think self-esteem really is? What does that mean to you when you hear self-esteem?
How do you feel about yourself?
Okay.
I agree. How we feel about ourselves, what we put out to the world.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, I guess what we put out to the world may not be how we feel about ourselves. It may
Okay.
not be.
Can you elaborate on that?
I mean, you could have low self-esteem, but you put out to the world that you're strong, you're confident, everything is okay, but inwardly everything may not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
true.
Anyone else want to add what they believe self-esteem is?
I mean, I agree with Karen to a certain extent, but like in the things we do, it'll always show through our self-esteem. We may say, "Oh, I'm good, I'm okay, everything is great," but the things that we do show what kind of self-esteem we have, whether it's high or it's low or whatever it is.
Well, I was a psych major. I love psych, so this is right up my alley. And you know, this concept, this idea of self-esteem has been around since the dawn of time. One psychologist in particular that comes to mind is Maslow and his hierarchy itself. Self-esteem was interwoven right into that. Now, people believe that self-esteem is an individual subjective evaluation of her own self-worth, which encompasses our beliefs and emotional state about ourselves. So this can include things such as emotional state. It could be shame and despair, belief about our abilities that we can triumph, or that we're prideful. And does anyone know? Now, this is a very important concept, like an individual subjective belief. Now, subjective to me is the most important part of that definition, because I think someone said it, I think it may have been Karen, where subjective is how you view it. So we may all feel Tiffany's the greatest, but if Tiffany is not feeling that, then that's affecting, that's her viewpoint of her self-esteem. Now, why is self-esteem important? what is the importance of this thing called self-esteem? Our subjective viewpoint of ourselves, how we value our self-worth. Does anyone know? Anyone have an idea what the importance of self-esteem is?
Yes, I think I have an idea. It's kind of like Mary J. Blige said, like, how can I love myself? How can anybody else love me if I don't love myself? So if I don't feel good about myself, then I'm not going to think people feel good about me, no matter what people actually think.
Interesting. Anybody else? The importance of knowing about self-esteem. Okay. So the importance of knowing about self-esteem is this. Self-esteem is a predictor of success. Now, studies have shown that people who, again, remember, self-esteem is subjective. It's how you view and value your own self-worth based on your beliefs and based on your emotional state. So if you're feeling despair, depressed, if you're not feeling good about yourself, are you gonna want to be successful?
No.
And the same way, if you're feeling good and I can achieve and I can make it, are you gonna want to do good at work?
Yeah, you're going to want to live your best life.
Now, studies have shown that people, I mean, this idea of self-esteem is so important. In 1986, the governor of California even set up a self-esteem task force because I think this was during the whole crack era and there was a lot of high crime out in South Central LA. They actually set up a self-esteem task force to figure out how can we motivate people and build up self-esteem, because like I said, self-esteem is a predictor of a person's future success. And in the height of the mid 80s, now this is showing my age, it was bad. Like it was the crack era, it was heavy gang violence back then, and they wanted to know, why is this happening? Why are people turning to this? What is the cause? So they set up this task force for self-esteem, and they devised ways of boosting minority children esteem. And they set up community events. They set up a lot of rec centers, ways of getting people engaged to build up and boost their self-esteem. Studies have shown people who exhibit lower self-esteem, they have higher crime rates, higher alcoholism, higher anxiety, higher divorce rates. So this does tie in. And I mentioned low self-esteem. Let's discuss the 3 types of esteem. Now, I'm going to play a game. I'm going to try to play a game. We're going to see how this goes. I'm going to give you a definition. It's going to say something like, I'm just going to give you a definition, and you tell me which self-esteem would this fit into. So there's 3 types of self-esteem. There's inflated self-esteem, inflated esteem, low and high. I think I'm better than everybody else around here. I am the greatest. Everyone else is stupid.
Inflated.
You got it.
Yeah.
Inflated self-esteem is having a overheightened sense of self-worth. And that's fine, but doubting everyone else's abilities as you do it. Okay, I am nothing. I can do nothing right. People don't believe in me. I can't do this.
Low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem. Having sense of despair and doubt when it comes to your own capabilities and abilities. And the next one, I am valued, I'm worthy, and I'm just as good as everyone else, even though I may not perform on the same level, but I am secure with my own abilities.
High
self-esteem. See, high self-esteem has nothing to do with thinking you're better than other people. I know sometimes, especially as women, we get up there and we go, yeah, I know I'm that chick. I'm the baddest chick around here. And that's fine to believe in yourself. But at the end of the day, it goes left when you start doubting other people and putting them down. So high self-esteem is believing in your own values and your self-worth, and having realistic ideas about your own ability. Okay, guys, any questions so far?
No, you're doing a good job.
Thank you, guys. So self-esteem has characteristics. Does anyone know any of the characteristics of low self-esteem? I gave you definitions. What might the characteristics of low self-esteem be? Just yell it out.
Thinking poorly of yourself.
Okay.
Wanting to be like in a gang or something, or some kind of group,
Downplaying yourself.
just to identify.
Okay. Elaborate. Like a characteristic. Karen, you're saying to identify with a group, like a gang.
Yeah, like feeling like you don't have any worth, like just you need to be a part of something in order to be worth something. Like, excuse me if anybody's in a sorority, forgive me please, but I've always felt like that with sororities. I mean, it could be just a gang, like a street gang. I mean, girls can be in street gangs too, you know. But as far as sororities, I've always felt like that. So please, forgive me if I'm stepping on anybody's toes, but
No.
I've always felt like that about
this
sororities.
Is an open,
like,
this is a free space.
I went to college too, and it was just like I was way too independent of a thinker to feel like I needed to be a part of something to be something. I already was something. I mean, I wasn't, I had some issues with low self-esteem and depression, but I knew I was something already.
I get it.
I didn't need to be a part of something to be something. So I felt like I was worthy as a person, just being me.
I get it.
Yeah.
You worked on that low self-esteem. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, I heard you try to chime in and say something. Okay, well, maybe she didn't. Let's give her time to unmute. Okay, so maybe she's not unmuted.
I said that.
Oh, okay.
What was that? Always you downplaying yourself all the time.
Downplaying. So these are
okay,
I'm sorry, Tiffany. So these are the characteristics, and I'm going to give you examples. Self-criticism and not being able to forgive yourself. Now, we all know people like this, and we all do it. It's just human nature. So just say you're at a job, and I'll just say this workshop. I would like for more people to have come. Since I advertised it. But here's where a person with low self-esteem would say, oh my God, I'm so dumb. I can't believe nobody came to this workshop. I'm so stupid. Oh my God, I can't even get past it because the last workshop, I can't get past this. I can't forgive myself for not advertising this enough and just beating yourself up. That's one example of one characteristic of low self-esteem. Another one is perfectionism. Now, I like to consider myself a perfectionist, but we all know people like this. Perfectionism, where everything has to be just right. And if it's not just right, then you start beating yourself up. So an example is, oh my God, this was supposed to start at 12 o'clock. It started at 12:05. I wanted it to start at 12 o'clock. This is not right. Everything is ruined after this. That's an example of perfectionism. And someone with low self-esteem would exhibit that. Okay, hypersensitivity to criticism. Now, let's look at this workshop again. It's not perfect. But if someone say, hey, you know what could have really helped, and maybe if you would have started a little earlier, and then I cop an attitude, I don't want to hear what you got to say. I knew you didn't like me in the first place. This is not right. That would be hyper criticism. When you're overly sensitive, and we know people like that, when you can't say one word to them. Chronic indecisiveness. Hate this. A person who has low self-esteem, they're constantly doubting themselves. They're not able to make a concise decision. So they'll go, I don't know. Do I want Olive Garden or do I want Red Lobster? What do you think? Red Lobster, Olive Garden. Red Lobster, Olive Garden. Chronic indecisiveness because you're not trusting your own ability because your esteem is low, because you're being hypercritical of yourself and a perfectionist to making a decision. Desire to overplease. Let's say we're all going out to lunch. Okay, I'm indecisive. Olive Garden, Red Lobster. I may not want to eat Red Lobster. I might be allergic to shellfish. But if Javon wants Red Lobster, and because I'm not secure in my own ability to make decisions, I don't think she's going to like me because my esteem is low. Who would like me anyway? My esteem is low. I'm fat. I'm dark skinned. You know, this is how it works in our brains. Hey, y'all want Red Lobster? Yeah. Knowing that I'm going to have to take a Benadryl later on that day or use an EpiPen because I definitely have a desire to overplease. Hostility and irritability. I think this goes hand in hand with depression. A lot of times when you're depressed and you're anxious about stuff, we get hostile and we get very irritable about stuff, especially when we're asked to take a step out on faith and step out and make decisions and we don't trust in ourselves to make the proper decisions. We will get hostile and irritable. Why are you asking me? I don't know why you're asking me. There's other people around here. And it looks like that. The next one is feelings of insignificance. Now, we've all touched on this. I've been playing around with this and trying to find a funny way to present this information to you. Feelings of insignificance. I'm not good enough. Why would they want to hear my opinion? I'm just a blind girl from Brooklyn. Nobody cares what I think. Everybody around here is sighted. That's the feelings of insignificance. Not being able to enjoy life. You can be somewhere at a party, everybody having a good time, and because your esteem is low, I'm not really enjoying this. I might want to get on the dance floor, but I don't know. I may not, they may not like me. And also, the last one is another characteristic of self-esteem is being involved in many activities and hobbies. See, when you feel good about yourself, you want to show up to places. You want to have your opinions heard. You want to, put yourself out there and say, you know what, maybe I should join the hockey team. Maybe I should join goalball. Maybe I should, So I think I do want to join a reading club because when you feel good about yourself, feeling good is almost like infectious. When people are feeling good about themselves, then they want to share it with the world. People pick up on that. Now, does anyone know any characteristics of high self-esteem?
Feeling good about yourself.
Well,
being secure in yourself. Is that a better way to put it?
No, there's no really wrong answers unless you say something so crazy.
Taking opportunities.
Yeah. Okay. Believing that you're valuable. Believing that, like, I'm just as smart as everybody else. I may not have had a college degree. I may not have a PhD, but I'm able to rock and roll with the best of them. Believing, when a person accepts and values themselves and has real beliefs about their abilities. So let's take that, you're at a workshop, you're at a seminar. And, we didn't like Beyonce say, I woke up like this. We didn't wake up like this. Like this, so, we have to work on ourselves, especially as women with disabilities. But when you feel like you're a value person, when you feel like, you know what, I'm at this workshop, I don't have a degree in psychology like Rashida. I don't have a degree in special ed like Rashida, but doggone it, you know what? I'm just as smart as her. I understand that we all have different intelligences. She might know a lot about this. I might know a lot about cooking. Do you see what I'm saying? Um, like I said, being engaged in activities, social activities, like reading groups, sports activities. And yes, as blind people, people with disabilities, there's a lot of things out there that we can participate in. Resist the manipulation, because you know you believe in yourself, and you know when somebody's trying to sell you a bill of goods. Being sensitive to another person's feelings and emotions. See, hurt people hurt people. Someone told me that years ago, and that is so true. When you don't feel good about yourself, you want to spread the BS. But when you feel good about yourself, you want to be empathetic to people. You know, you want to give them constructive criticism, but you want to be mindful of it. Believing that you're just as equal despite socioeconomics. You know, I might live in the ghettos of Brooklyn, but I'm just as valuable as somebody living out in California, Calabasas. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And this is hard. This is a hard thing to work on. But I'm going to try to talk about ways on working on it. Okay, daily, because these are tips that we have to work on every day. Doing proper affirmation. So I know sometimes we hear, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, I like me. You know, that's a skit from Saturday Night Live. This is on my age again. But again, that's an affirmation, and that's fine. But the key is proper affirmations. So when you get up, you may say, let me give an example. I want to be successful. Okay, that's fine. But if you don't know how to be successful, you don't have the keys to being successful, because you already have a low self-esteem, you have to do it similar to this. In time, I'm going to persevere so I can be successful. Because if you have a low self-esteem and you go, I'm going to be successful, you're still measuring yourself by people around you. And because your esteem is low, because it took years, it may have took 40 years to get to that low self-esteem, because a lot of psychologists say our esteem is formed between the ages of 4 to 11. And this ties into our next thing, developing your competencies and your developing or accentuating what you're competent in. So, like I mentioned earlier, we all have multiple intelligences. Karen, you might be better at cooking. Tiffany, you might be better at painting. Javon, you might be better at knitting. I might be better at whatever my skill set is, reading, or writing. So you can't go around concentrating on what people are doing. You work on what you do. You know, if you're a good cook, I can make the pies, because our esteem is formed, especially our high self-esteem, from accomplishing and finishing tasks that we're competent in. And that's why they say between the ages of 4 to 11. That's no surprise that that's right around school age, from school age kids. And those are the formative years. So we make good grades on our report card. Mommy gives us high fives all around. The teacher gave us a scratch and sniff sticker. I feel good. So if you feel good, you're going to want to do good. And this goes into another tip, accepting compliments. Too often it's hard for us to accept compliments. Oh, you did great. That's a great pie you made, Tiffany. I love it. And it's a little uncomfortable. There's no need to be defacing. Nah, it sucked. I know it sucked. Because now you're saying I'm not good enough. Or if and it takes time. Thank you. Thank you. That's it. All you got to say is thank you until you get more comfortable discussing what really works, discussing what. God, I'm getting tired, Tom. What works for you. Another tip, I don't know how to really explain this, getting rid of the negative and introducing the positive. So that works in this way. Because we all screw up. It's human nature. And that's part of having a high self-esteem also. I forgot this. Accepting your failures and doing better the next time. We're human. We make mistakes. We're not perfect. So accepting your failures mean, you know what? I might be one of the few Black people that don't know how to fry chicken, and I know that. So I accept my failure. I'm not good at this. That's not one of my competencies. I can make the heck out of spaghetti. I'm good at that. So if y'all want an Italian dinner, hook me up. I'm the spaghetti girl. Now, another thing is, but let's talk as women. We've all had failed relationships. Whether you're part of the rainbow community or you're not, a relationship is not 100 all the time. And too often as women, when we get wrapped up in these bad relationships, we always accentuate the negative, but don't introduce the positive. And one good tip, and these are all work in progress. This is not going to change tomorrow. All good tips are like, so it can work like this. What would you say to your best friend? So sometimes when we go through drama, we like to bash ourselves. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I'm this stupid. And that's fine. But would you turn to your best friend, your daughter, and go, yeah, you were stupid? What you would say to her is, you know what, girl? I understand that, you made a bad choice. He wasn't good enough for you. He wasn't good enough for you. Do better the next time, girl. You too good for that. So that's what they call introducing the positive. And that's a hard thing to do because we always want to bash ourselves. So when we get to, I'm dumb, and I have to do this myself. Like I got to keep checking myself. This is all a work in progress. Like I said, I didn't wake up like this. Beyonce did, I didn't. So, I have to keep checking myself and I say, you know what? I made a mistake. He wasn't good enough for me, or the job wasn't the right setting, and there's always something better. And the last tip, and then I'm going to pass it on because I'm getting to be a chatty Cathy. That's one of my talents. It's realistically affirming your abilities. So, one was of saying, believing in your affirmation, like in time, I'm going to do this. Realistically affirming your abilities. That's kind of like developing your competencies. Now, people who are in this field, they say, just say you did a workshop and it wasn't the best. What you may do, you can sit down and you can write it. And we do this all the time in workshops, like a reflective journal, pros and cons. This went well. I did this great. I did that great. I did this great. I spoke. I was articulate. I may not have been the best doing this workshop, but I was articulate. I spoke well. I was jocular, if that's what you're trying to get to. And I'm going to accentuate that. Let's look at relationships. Again, this is reflectiveness. So you can say, and this is hard for us as women, because sometimes when he cheat, we want to go, he did this, he did that, he did this. It's definitely looking at yourself and seeing the role that you play. Yeah, he did cheat, but I was a good woman. I can cook. I iron his clothes every morning like I liked it. I'm very loyal. So it's just sitting down and taking active action. So I'm going to reiterate it. Believable affirmations, developing your competencies, accentuating the positive or introducing the positive and not accentuating the negative, and being realistic in your affirmations. And I'm going to pass it off to Jovan. And she'll be talking about setting boundaries.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone, again. Rashida, when she opened it up, she talked about boundaries, or what is a boundary that you allow people to violate. And as women, we often do that. When you think about boundaries, what do you think about? Anyone?
Setting limits.
Mm-hmm. Okay, setting limits. A boundary is kind of like imaginary line that separates you from another, whether it be mentally, physically, or emotionally. So they're imperative to setting, they're imperative to boosting your self-esteem, making you feel good, because if somebody is violating your boundaries that you set, you may not feel the best. You know, you didn't speak up when you should have, like Rashida said, or something like that. So boundaries also teach people how to treat us. Nobody knows how we want to be treated more than we do. So when we say, hey, I don't like that, or hey, don't do that, that's setting a boundary. And that's showing somebody how far they can go. And we set boundaries from we're young. Think about your youngest memory when you said, hey, mommy, I don't like these sheets, or hey, grandma, I want apple juice, or something like that, or I don't like that. That's a boundary that you set. So you set them from very young. When you allow others to violate your boundaries or invade your boundaries, you may feel feelings of depression, despair, all these negative emotions taken advantage of. So, I'm sorry, my headphones are going out. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. So for example, an example of violating a boundary is, you want to help your family. You want to be there emotionally, but that family is not entitled to every aspect of your life. You shouldn't have your friends or your family, because they're the violators the most, coming over and going through your personal things. And those are invasions, especially if they make you uncomfortable. So the boundaries you set, you are responsible for protecting them. And when you don't, you allow people to violate them. And some things that people often violate is invading your personal belongings and your space, allowing others' beliefs, their emotions to take precedent over yours, feeling responsible for somebody's emotions or opinions. And as women, we do that a lot. Our children might say something, and we feel like we have to be responsible for apologizing for that. Again, not speaking up for yourself. And another thing that we allow people to do often is allowing people to drain us mentally, physically, or emotionally. The next thing I'm going to talk about is factors that influence your boundaries. So there's many things that may influence your boundaries. Can anybody think of any that may influence the boundaries you may want to set?
Factors. Loved ones.
Huh?
Loved ones, family.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Oh, your
Low
housing
self-esteem.
situation.
I'm sorry?
They
Low
talking on top of each other.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I
All
said
right. So those,
your housing situation. Like if you don't have stable
yeah, that's
housing,
a
and
good
then
one. That's a
yeah,
good one.
kind of
Because
relying
you
on
definitely, if you're staying with somebody,
yeah.
people are more inclined to want to violate your beliefs or the way you feel. But some other things that influence your boundaries and the way you set them is your age. With time, your boundaries may change. So maybe when you were a teenager, you don't like, say, pineapples or whatever. But when you become an adult, you love them, or something like that. Yeah, environment is also another one. Like Karen said, like your housing situation. Your family is definitely a big one. Your culture plays a big part on how you set boundaries. Your childhood, like Rashida said, from 4 to 11, that's a big time in your life, even for boundaries. Your life experiences is another big one. as well as your education or your career. Depending on what career you go into, you know, you may not, you know, say you go into the army, you know, you may have different boundaries because now you're in the army. You may be more strict or more lenient or whatever the case may be. And as you go through life and you experience different things, they will change. Relationships change your boundaries, and I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. Sometimes you have a friend and they just are into every aspect of your life. And when you fall out of something, you go, okay, I'm not going to allow anybody else to do this, or I'm not going to allow anybody else to drive my car because my friend crashed my car, or whatever the case may be.
Alert from FW. Updated weekly MOPD COVID-19 call with disability community partners.
Turn off my voiceover.
Boundaries don't have to be drawn in stone. You should revisit them as often as you need to. So there are some rules that you can take, or there's some steps you can take to setting successful, healthy boundaries. So the first one is demand respect. You have to demand respect. No, you can't have this, or no, I don't want this. You also have to forgive yourself, which Rashida mentioned. Like, that's a big part of setting a boundary too. Relationship-wise or whatever the case may be.
Voiceover on Zoom.us.
Oh,
Zoom meeting. Voiceover off.
I'm in the frame.
Remember that you can't help someone if you can't help yourself. So you have to be a priority. Your mentals have to be right in order for you to help even your children or your family or whatever the case may be. And you should also make a list. If you see it written down, you're more inclined to follow them or be reminded of them. And start small. It doesn't have to be oh, well, I'm not going to talk to her ever. It could be like, okay, every time she does it, every time she calls, I don't have to answer. Or every time he calls, I don't have to answer. And be comfortable with saying no. Often, as women, again, we don't say no enough to our children, to our mates. We just don't say no enough. And we have to get comfortable with that. We have to designate time for ourselves. We need a mental break too. So even if it's like a 10-minute coffee break, or I'm going to go to the gym for half an hour, designate that time, turn your phone off, do something that is good for your mental health so that you can be better to the people around you. Understand that you can't fix a person if they don't even understand. If they don't even realize they need help, you can't fix somebody, you can only help them. So, you know, often we'll say, oh, he just needs a little work. I'm going to fix him. I'm going to work on it. They're going to be in love, or, you know, or my child, I'm going to fix this problem. My child is doing this. My child is doing that. And I'm going to fix them. But if they don't realize that they need the help, then we can't help them ourselves. Be assertive. I think this keeps coming up over and over again, but if we don't make these boundaries and set them and be assertive, then we will continue to be violated. Our children and our family members, I know I keep saying it over and over, but they are the biggest violators of our boundaries. And even them, we have to set boundaries with. A suggestion that can help you is even doing a mantra. For example, I can't help my family if I can't help myself, or I can't be successful in my goals if I can't take the time out to enter a class, or, you know, something like that. If you're consistent with these requests, eventually over time, people will start to respect your boundaries, and it'll make you feel better physically, emotionally, mentally, and it'll make you a better person. Next is what is a goal? Now, does anybody have any?
Yeah.
Yes.
You
I'm
said
sorry. Any questions? I'm sorry.
you were on a roll. You were on a roll.
I'm sorry. This is what happens when I'm nervous. I'm nervous, guys. Excuse me.
I don't think you should be nervous. I think we can ask our audience here, how you doing? I think you're doing well. We just spoke about affirmation. And we just spoke about tips for boosting esteem. So
yes.
if I give you a compliment, you say,
I said thank you.
that's it. Thank you. until you feel better. Saying other things. But no, question. You said that a boundary, a detector of a boundary would be culture. Can you elaborate on that? Like, how would our culture affect us from setting up boundaries?
Okay. For example, it's not that it affects us setting up boundaries, it affects the boundaries we set. So, okay, culture, for example, I'm West Indian. Okay, cool. And I've been with certain West Indian men, and they may not eat certain things. Don't cook this because I don't like this. That's a boundary. I don't like pork because I'm whatever. That's my culture. Or even you are a Muslim woman. You don't eat certain things. That's a boundary. It may seem minute, but that's still a boundary. I'm not eating this because of this. You see what I'm saying?
Now,
if that makes any sense.
Low, I would overplease and eat the pig.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So it sounds silly.
It all ties in. It does.
It does. It sounds silly, but these are boundaries go from big to small. You know, it might be, I don't like wearing red. Or another thing I've heard you say, I don't like wearing this material because it doesn't feel good on my skin. So you're not going to allow somebody to buy you, say, a lace dress. You're not going to wear a lace dress just to please somebody.
Not anymore.
Because it's going to itch you. Exactly. But these are the rules.
On esteem.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Lindy. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, it's Nadrika. I just wanted to let you guys know I was in the group, but I didn't want to interrupt because you guys were on a roll and doing such a good job. But I do want to let you guys know, and I have a question when you guys are finished talking.
No, Nadrika, this is very interactive because of the number of people here. So, you know, we're just asking questions as we go along.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, like, I know that, Javon, you were talking about boundaries, right?
Yes.
And then Rashida made a good point about being like a people pleaser, right? And I know for myself, I'm a people pleaser. So sometimes I might have a boundary, but like I may feel afraid or hesitant to set that boundary with like a certain person, maybe because I don't want to disappoint them, or I want to make sure that, you know, they like me, or whatever the case is. You want to make you like to get the approval of others, right? So my question would be like, what are some suggestions that you may give a person looking for advice on how to enforce their boundary?
Oh, I just went over that, but you came in before.
Okay.
But some suggestions is being assertive. Like if you don't like something, or you know something that makes you uncomfortable, like be assertive. I don't want that. Don't do that to me. Like whatever it is. Another thing is demand respect. You have to demand respect. You have to be firm. This is the only way that people start to respect your boundaries. And it may not happen the first time, but if you keep at it, it will help set that boundary. And be comfortable with saying no. That's the biggest one. Often, as women, we are not comfortable saying no, whether it be to our partners, whether it be to our children. Like we just feel like the bad guy. We feel guilty if we say no. So those are some tips I could say for, you know, and remember that you're a priority. You are the priority. So if somebody's making you doing something that makes you feel bad, like how are you going to help people if mentally you're not in a good place?
Right.
And don't worry, guys, if you came late or you missed something, everyone will get the PowerPoint in
Yes.
an email, and it has all of these tips on the PowerPoint.
Okay. Just,
Yes.
some participation out there, Sorry for my
No,
tardy.
you're good. Next is goals. So can anybody tell me what their idea of a goal is? Anybody?
Oh, you mean what do we think a goal is?
Yeah. Did I not say that right?
I'm not going to call on people. Don't make me put my teacher hat on.
Yes, she will. She will. Well, since you're talking, Rashida, what is a goal to you? Like, what is your definition of a goal?
I don't know. Something that I want to attain. I might be wrong.
Okay.
It feels wrong. Anybody?
No, it's no wrong answer. Well, a goal is a standard that somebody uses to evaluate where they are now relevant to where they want to be in the future. So say, all right, in the future, I want to get my degree. That's a goal. Or, I want to start my own business. That's a goal. So that's pretty much what the definition of a goal. It's also an idea that you want to accomplish in the future. It could be the near future, it could be the long-term future, but it's an idea that you want to manifest. I'm gonna use your word, Rashida, but you want to manifest it into
that is the word
reality.
of the day, right? Patricia, manifest.
Your behavior also is kind of, how can I say this? Your behavior is dependent on your goals as well. Sometimes you meet somebody at work or whatever, and they're so focused on being successful, they have no personality, or or the other way around. They have no goals, but they're the sweetest person in the world. So your behavior often is dependent on the goals that you set. Now there are a couple of kind of goals. So there's a short-term goal, there's a long-term goal, and there's a lifetime goal. Would anybody like to give me an opinion on the short term or the long term or the lifetime, or even just your short term or lifetime or long term goal? Rashida?
Let me call somebody out.
Yes, go.
As I said earlier, this will be interactive. Karen?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give her time to unmute.
I will. Is she even on still? Maybe she got disconnected.
No, I think she's on. I didn't hear
Okay.
disconnect.
I'm unmuted.
Okay.
I couldn't
Okay.
unmute. I had some lotion on my hand and it wouldn't let me unmute.
It happens.
You said a short-term goal?
Either a short-term goal, a long-term goal, or a lifetime goal. Like,
A short-term goal could be I'm going to wash those dishes.
excellent. That is a short-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a goal that can be obtained in the near future. So it might be 7 days or 7 minutes or 7 months, but it's something that you can accomplish in the very near future. Mm-hmm. Then you have long-term goals. Now, a long-term goal may take a little while longer. Like, hey, I want to paint the house. That might be a long-term goal. Or I want to get the carpet changed. Or, in 6 months, I would like to have a puppy. But those are long-term goals. or in 2 years. So they take anywhere from a few months to a few years. Now, the lifetime goals, these are your dreams, these are your aspirations, these are the things you work for. Sometimes your short-term goals could lead to long-term goals, which could lead to lifetime goals. So, your lifetime goal might need to remodel your house, but it might start with, like Karen said, I'm going to wash these dishes. Then long-term, I'm going to take up this carpet. And then, at the end, your house is renovated. So those are some long-term goals and examples of long-term goals. I'm sorry. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm sorry, guys. My phone was going in and out. I'm going to turn it back over to Rashida to finish.
Okay. Thank you, Javon. So Javon talked about attaining goals, and that's fine. But before I discuss tips on attaining goals, like they say, you can't know where you're going if you if you don't know where you've been, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to discuss, why would our goals fail? Now and it's just an uncomfortable part of the because we all have goals. Like our long-term goals, like the long-term goals. Like one of my long-term goals is owning a home. Anyone else care to share a long-term goal?
I can share my long-term goal. My long-term goal is to get better at public speaking, or get over my nervousness more than getting over public speaking. Huh?
The way this is going, this might be a short-term goal.
I know. No, it's not even public speaking. It's the nervousness. I get very nervous. I've been working on it, and it's been getting better. I can be honest. I have really been working on it, and it gets better and it's better. So maybe that's not a long-term goal, but a long-term goal is definitely to get my degree. That's a long-term goal for me.
Long-term goal. Okay. Anyone else want to share a long-term life? What did you say? Spans over the lifespan, right? Goal.
The life is this the long-term goal, and then the lifetime goal. So it might be like getting a boat or a yacht or something like that.
Okay, so my lifetime goal would be own property. Anyone else want to share a lifetime goal?
I think a lifetime goal of mine will be to start a family, build a life with somebody, some kids, a husband. That's one of my major long-term lifetime goals. And also I agree with you. I would love to own a home, property, and yeah, I think that's it. Be somebody's CEO.
Be somebody's CEO or your own CEO.
I want to be a CEO, so maybe I could start off by working for somebody and being, but then.
Oh, that's your short-term goal. Okay.
Into my own business, but that's one of my long-term goals.
My lifetime goal. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
My lifetime goal is definitely to own some property. Even if it's not a house, a condo. Like just something that's mine. And maybe have a family. I don't know. I'm still indecisive about that.
Family thing is major.
It is.
Tiffany, your lifetime goal. Let's give her a minute to unmute. Karen, start thinking. You're up next for a lifetime goal. Okay. Karen, let's let you go first while Tiffany is probably unmuting. A lifetime goal.
Okay, well, I'll give you one of each. My short-term goal is to clean the bathroom this weekend.
Okay.
A long-term goal is I want to learn how to speak Spanish, which I don't know how to speak it at all, but I want to learn how to speak Spanish.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And a lifetime goal is I want to start an organization,
Oh, I
a
love it.
nonprofit organization.
All right. All right. Tiffany. Okay. I'm moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So these are all great lifetime goals: owning a home, family, starting our own business. There's a method to my madness why I asked this. I'm not just being nosy. So there are reasons why we don't attain these goals. And I'm going to discuss this right now. Number one, they're not specific. And the reason I did this little exercise is for us to actually specify exactly what we want. Sometimes we say, I want to be the captain of industry. Okay. What does that even really mean? So you got to name it before you claim it. I like that. Sound like Johnny Cochran.
You do.
And it just jumped in my head. You got to name it. Be specific. I want to have a family. I want to get married. Because what does a family really mean? A family is all different types of families.
Right.
So you want to be specific. I want to have a nuclear family. Not saying you're going to get it. That was one of mine. I want to have a nuclear family. Husband, 2 point whatever kids, and a dog. I got the 2 point whatever kids, a dog, and the husband. That's
On his way. He's on his way.
You almost accomplished that goal. Okay,
This is what I'm trying to tell her.
But the key is people are not specific. Okay. Another one, person has doubts. Now this goes back to that esteem and setting boundaries. We all get nervous. We all get doubtful. I was speaking to Nadrika this morning and I said, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about this organization working. That's that doubting stuff that enters our heads. And we all have doubts because even though we, like I said, working on your esteem is a work in progress, it's an everyday thing. And because, let's be honest, as people, women with disabilities, like I said, a 3-time loser as society looks at us. All of us are African American or Black, as we want to call it, women and disabled. So we're 3-time losers in society. And because we know that and we're told that, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. But we've been answering to this for many, many years. And because we've been answering to being a 3-time loser, a lot of times we get doubts, we get nervousness, fears jumping our head. It's not going to work. And that's how we work on all of those tips on boosting esteem to get past the doubts. Another one is people not working on it. So you want that family, you got to start working on that one tonight. And
I have to put a little extra work in behind that. Okay.
Yeah, everything is work. I tell people don't believe me. This morning, I got up at 2:00 in the morning because I'm working on building this Blind Vision Inc. And when you're working on things, you work on it for you, not for them. So I didn't get up at 8 and call Javon and go, I've been doing this since 2. How long have you been doing it? Do you see what I'm saying? She told me she was at 3:00. And I just found out before this webinar, you got to put in the work to achieve what you want to achieve. That goes in not motivating. Sometimes we may say things and it makes no sense. Like, I want to be a millionaire. Okay. Now this goes hand in hand. Your goals are not motivating. Like, I want to be a rapper, but you're 41. I mean, that's not motivating. The goal has to make sense. And when it's not motivating, this is one of the reasons why the goals fail. They're not committed. It takes commitment to achieve anything. Let's look at Karen wanting to clean the bathroom. She got to be committed to cleaning that bathroom. Nobody wants to do that. You got to be committed. You got to put it in your head and say, okay, specific. I want to clean the bathroom. Committed. Let me go get the Ajax. Let me go get the gloves. Let me go get the face mask. You're using like ammonia or whatever, your technique is. I need a toilet brush. You got to lay the steps out and be committed. So a lot of times we may say things like, I want to be a rapper. And that's fine. And you might be 41 and it's not motivating. But you shouldn't be doing this at 41. That lets me know that you didn't put that commitment in. You see what I'm saying, guys?
Or you could
Mhm.
try to put the commitment in, right? Like if you want to be a rapper at 41,
You gotta go hard.
hopefully you have taken the steps, right? Hopefully
Yeah.
you were saving, and then hopefully you invested in some
But that's
studio
part of
equipment, and
commitment.
you know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
made, hopefully you had, like, you were
You
taking the steps,
prepared.
so now it's not all words. Like
Here's the
Yeah.
so
thing.
that's the thing
part of
I
the
agree with.
commitment. It's part of the commitment. You can't throw a song up on Apple Music every now and then and say, I'm a rapper. You gotta put in that work. I was watching years ago in an interview, I think it might have been with Michael Jordan. And he said he ate, slept, and breathed basketball. He would get up in the morning, early in the morning, and start hooping till late at night. That's what you call commitment.
Right.
When I was because we learn from everywhere. I was watching the Sister Act, Back in the Habit, with Whoopi Goldberg and Lauryn Hill, and it's something that she said that made sense when the movie came out in the 90s. If the first thing you think about in the morning is that, to the last thing you think about in the evening before you go to bed is that, then that's what you are. If you wake up thinking about hooping or rapping and you put that legwork in to the moment you go to bed, you're a rapper. Do you see what I'm saying? But you got to put that time in. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking of blind vision. At night, I go to bed figuring out, okay, let me see if I can make this social media work. That's the commitment. Another reason our goals don't work is from lack of focus. Sometimes we get sidetracked or easily distracted. And this happens to all of us. We've all been working from home for almost the past year, and it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to say, you know what? I know I want to start this business, but I don't know, supermarket sweep is on. This could wait till tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and then you come up with something else. So that's all part of losing that focus.
True.
Okay. Hold on, guys. Not knowing how to handle failure. Sometimes this goes back to that esteem. Everything tied in today. Not knowing how to handle failure. Things don't work. I wanted more people at this workshop. I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying it failed. All I'm saying is I would have liked more people here. It would have been nice if 100 people would have shown up and I wouldn't have been able to use the Zoom. That would have been great. But for a first workshop, for a startup, this is not bad because nobody knows us. After this workshop, they will. So yeah, this is kind of a failure because my goal was 100. But at the end of the day, it's still a success. This goes back to what I was talking about, not concentrating on the negative and introducing the positive. You see how this all ties in hand in hand. Sometimes when we make a mistake and we fail at attaining our goal, then it's a wrap in our brains. I can't do it because I never did it. I'm not going to be good at it. And that's when our goals fall short. And the last one is making excuses. Making excuses. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to make an excuse and say, you know what? I'm not doing this because supermarket sweep is on. Or, you know why this didn't work? It's because I'm blind. This is a common thing. They don't want me around because I'm black. They're not going to give the black man a chance. How many times have we heard this? And trying to keep me down. When that all goes back to fear. If you believe in yourself, you can achieve it. Yeah, we are 3-time losers according to society. The reason I keep saying according to society because I don't feel this way. This is how when they see us with our canes, when they see us with our wheelchairs, when they see our complexions, when they see our gender, automatically you're going to be under everything, underestimated, undervalued, and underpaid. We know that. That's just the reality. But that's not an excuse to not go forward. So people will say, oh, I'm not a rapper because they letting people in like Jay-Z, who's part of the Illuminati. Okay, that's an excuse. I don't have a home because I'm a single parent and they don't want a woman with kids to own property. Oh, I've been to jail 3 times, so I can't own a company. They don't want the black man to get ahead. Those are all excuses, and those are the reasons why our goals don't succeed. But I also have the tips on how they should succeed. See, I like the specific part. A part of it is being very specific, naming the goal. I want to have a family. That's a little too broad. So you got to home it in a little. I want to have at least 2 children. Do you see what I'm saying? For those who are still counting eggs, I want to have at least 2 children. Not saying it's going to get there. You might have only 1, but you at least have something to set your sight on. I want to have a company. That's nice, but the goal has to be specific. I want to have a company that services women with disabilities. So it's a little more specific. This is not my first venture at entrepreneurship. I had several, but I had another organization, and I was speaking to Nadrika about it recently, and I said I was all over the place. Sometimes having your hand, it wasn't specific enough. Yeah, I wanted to help. Okay, fine, but help what? Help who? How's this going to be done? So you got to home it in and make it more specific. Another thing is make it measurable. Make your goal measurable. So making it measurable is something that can be done, something that you can see. How can I attain this? What are the steps? How can I measure my success? How can I measure my progress? Okay, at this workshop, we have 5 people show up. That's the next workshop. Let's shoot for 6. Do you see what I'm saying? Make the goals attainable. Make it make sense. Yeah, I want to be a millionaire. Don't we all? But is that an attainable, realistic goal? Is that attainable? How are you going to attain it? How are you going to get it? This goes back to your steps and measurable. They're all kind of tie in. So you can't look at this as something separate and aside from. I got specific, but I don't need it to be realistic. So they all kind of tie in. The next one is having a realistic goal. Is it really realistic to say I want to hit the rap game at 41 and have my first album drop and blow up, when there's been guys who've been doing this since 19 and grinding and committed and focused and specific, and they have measurable goals. They spend 30 hours in the studio, 25 hours, 23 hours in the studio a day. Make it realistic to attain a goal. That's why you start with those small goals. Then you kind of branch out. We start with, I want to own the home. Let me start with this bathroom. And then look into programs for home ownership. Start working on credit. This is all part of the measurable, attainable act for specificness. If that's the word, I'm going to make it a specificness and make it realistic. Is it realistic to say I want to have my first baby at 65? That might not be a realistic goal for you. You might have to for owning a puppy. So, I mean, if you've had a hysterectomy, nowadays having a birth baby through your uterus may not be a realistic goal, whether you're 30 or 40. But the realism is I might need a surrogate. Do you see what I'm saying? My eggs are still intact. I can get a donor, or my partner, he wants to contribute. We can get a surrogate. It's still our child. We just found someone to let us use their uterus for 9 months. So that's what being realistic about when we have these goals, and timely. This goes back to the 41-year-old rapper. This has to happen in a timely fashion. You can't say, I'm going to be a rapper, I'm going to blow up next week, when you haven't even paid for studio time. Make the goals make sense. When we are setting them goals, it has to make sense. So if you need an acronym, because I like these acronyms, everything makes sense. SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And if you stick to what they call a SMART method or SMART goals, You can achieve what you want to achieve. We all may not be millionaires. It may not be realistic. It may not be timely. It may not be measurable. I can't, the Powerball, wasn't it almost $900 million last Saturday? I wanted it. I didn't put in that light work. I didn't go drop the dollar. I would rather put my dollar in Sabaro's Pizza. So I can't get mad if I didn't attain that 900 million. I wasn't in it to win it. So guys, we're almost at the end of this workshop. I want to open up the floor for questions, thoughts, comments, and feedback. Let me call on people.
I will go first.
Okay.
I'll go first. I've learned a lot through this workshop, and I would just like to thank everyone who's attended. And I'm getting better at not being so nervous every time I do one of these. So thank you for helping me obtain my goal.
You'll have many more months of practice.
I know.
Any other comments, questions, and feedback?
Yeah, it's Nadrika. So I would just say that I do apologize for showing up late, but I found that this workshop had a lot of useful information that, you know, you can take back and really implement into your own day-to-day. So, you know, that's the best type of workshops to attend, is the ones that you can really get something out of. And I feel like I definitely got something out of this. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Karen, coming all the way from the city of brotherly love.
Not really. Not hardly. But I think I just like to add that sometimes like reaching goals are easier when you share them with others, even if it's like one other person. It's like exercise, like you don't want to exercise, but if you pick the exercise partner and they're waiting on you, you know, Wednesday at 7 a.m. to go walking, then you're probably going to get up and be ready to go walking because you know somebody else is waiting for you. You know, somebody else is in on it, and they, you know, y'all help each other. You know.
No, that's important because
that's part of the motivation. Yeah, that's part of the motivation.
And having people hold you accountable. You know what I mean? Like, you may not hold yourself accountable, because you can easily wiggle out of stuff and make excuses, like you said. But if somebody else is just like, well, I thought that you was going to, or, you know, and you're like, you know, you can get, you know, tired of them giving you the side eye.
That is so
That's
true.
A great point.
There's strength in numbers. But again, like I always say, water meets its level. You got to find like-minded people. I was speaking about this to Nadrika earlier. My dad always told me, cast not your pearl before swine, at least they be cast in the mud. You can't, everything is not for everybody. You got to find people, because sometimes we can get accomplishments, we can get great things, and we can share it with people. And I think I'm going to buy a house. I think I'm going to shoot for a promotion. I think I'm going to get married. I think I'm going to start a family. And people may say, yeah, that's good. But if their esteem is not on your level, they may be pumping their fist for you in your face, but behind your back, holding that knife handle. So you definitely have to find like-minded people. And that happens in life. Sometimes we may start out with having people in our lives, family, friends, partners, but they may not be there for the long haul. Like, this is only for a season, especially when you find yourself getting more frustrated talking about your goals and your dreams with people, and you feel more frustrated after speaking to them than not. It's time to make decisions. And that is true, Karen. Karen, I want to tell a quick story. Karen lives, I think you live in Philadelphia, and I didn't know, I think this might be Karen's first time seeing me. The thing is, she, as a parent, she has a child. He's not a child, he's a big child, but he'll always be Karen. And I want to own property. And sometimes, you know, this is a workshop on esteem and setting goals and boundaries. But sometimes, like I said, we doubt ourselves. And I said, I don't know how I'm going to own this property. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I showed up to a call. And the universe, like they say, You know, you can have the plans, but
Mm-hmm.
utilize, you know, is the best planner or provider. I wasn't going to go to the call. And Karen was talking about how she's self-made. She bought her own property. She owned it. And she gave the information. And I said, wow, this is why I came here. This is why I came here, because I was feeling kind of down. I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's the pandemic. I don't know how I'm going to see through this. I want certain things. And she gave me very pertinent information that I will use when the time is right to buy that property as a woman with a disability. So thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
And she's showing improvement. She in her spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that too. I do remember
Oh, you remember that?
call.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
remember that call. Mm-hmm.
Hey, can we pass some of this information over here? I'm just saying, Karen. I sound like I need to get connected to Karen. Like,
Karen, you care to share your story?
Was it the home start?
Yes. Yes.
That's what it was?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I got my house through the home start program. I don't know if they still do it here in Philadelphia. It was with the city buys up properties. I don't know where they get them from. I guess people not paying their taxes or whatever. And there was a program for first-time home buyers, low-income first-time home buyers. And I just went to the meeting. I mean, I remember I was home. I was in my apartment, and I was tired of paying rent. It was getting on my nerves. And I knew it wasn't mine, and I knew I could be put out, you know, at any minute, you know, the owner sold the building or whatever. And I got the yellow pages. I remember specifically, I got the yellow pages. I called out of work that day, got the yellow pages. I sat down, and anything in the yellow pages that had anything to do with house or housing, I called every single agency. And I was like, y'all got any houses? Do y'all have any houses? I want to buy a house. I want to buy a house. Like, do you have any house? How do I get a house? And one organization, it was called the Philadelphia Housing Development Corporation. They said they had a program called the Home Start Program. I don't know if it's nationwide, but I guess they got something similar in each state.
They do.
Or in each city. Okay.
Okay.
And they told me to come to this meeting. It was a Thursday. And they told me to come to this meeting that Tuesday. And I said, I'll be there. And I was there. I went. And they showed you like these photocopies of these houses. And they said, pick out 3 that you might be interested in and write it on the list. It was called an expression of interest. They said, write it on this form, write the 3 addresses. So I wrote down 3 addresses and didn't know these streets, didn't know because they were all in South Philly, didn't know anything about South Philly, really. And I was living in West Philly at the time, West Philadelphia. And so I filled it out and I turned it in and they called me within a couple of weeks. They told me I was matched with one of the homes.
What did you say the name of that program was?
Home Start.
Home Start.
Home Start. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been living in your home?
Since November. This was in March when I went to the meeting, March of 1994.
Here you go.
May of 1994 was when the paperwork really started. And I moved in November of 94.
There you go. There you
Wow.
go.
Okay.
And who would have thought,
Yep.
like, you know, here we go. She's a 3-timer. I'm going to call them 3-timers now.
Mm-hmm.
Raising a man child could be a property owner. But you see, she was very specific. She was very, I said Pacific. She was very specific.
She was motivated.
She was motivated. It happened in a timely fashion. It was very realistic and attainable. Do you see what I'm saying? This is doable. This is very doable. The first thing is be specific. Once you know what you want, I want to own a home here. And again, she was able to adjust with failure. She's looking in West Philly. I know West Philly. This is where I'm from. But she was also flexible. Sometimes change involves flexibility. She didn't go, I'm not doing South Philly. I don't know nobody. I'm not doing South Philly. She went where the universe dictated her.
Yeah.
That's the case in point. Yeah. So ladies, again, like I said, Blind Vision, we provide services. We're going to do a workshop a month on everything is on women empowerment. This one was about fostering esteem, setting boundaries, and attaining goals, something that every woman, whether you're disabled, whether you're a 3-timer, or like, okay, men got this. Men got this. I can't worry about men. I can only worry about my own peer group,
Gender.
women, disabled women. This is what we help. So we provide Blind Vision social services, any kind of resources and referrals. If you need food stamps, if you are homeless, right now we have clients from Florida, believe it or not, to
we do.
New York. And the thing is, if you need help with anything, we bridge the gap from the non-disabled or typical community to the disabled community, because the beautiful part is Blind Vision is run by us, for us. No one can tell us about our plight except for people who are walking in those shoes. So every month we are doing these kind of women empowerment growth workshops. I like the last Friday of the month. It might move to the third Friday because I saw something on my email that might be in competition with us. So it might be the third Friday of each month, which is initially set, but we had to move it for different reasons. We next Friday we have our blind parent support group. If you are a blind parent, if you are a parent, if you're blind and want to have a baby, if you are an auntie who think you're a parent, if you are a parent of a dog, and whatever parent means to you, I will be sending out the flyer on Monday to our blind parent workshop. We're going to discuss tips and tools about blind parenting, because it's very unique and specific to us. In the month of February, we will have a disabled women's support group where we can connect with women all across the country and talk about disability and what makes us unique other than just our disability and being a woman. And we also have our workshop for parents who have disabled children, because that's a whole nother horse of another color coming in February. We also have peer mentorship. If you know of a person who may need someone to buddy up with who is blind or disabled and they're new to this, link them to people who are true to this. So this is where Blind Vision comes in at, and we can be reached at 718-564-5077. Like us on Facebook, Blind Vision Inc. You can be reached on our WhatsApp on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. This workshop will be posted on Instagram after this. And like I say, just because you're blind doesn't mean you can't have it.
You have sight.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day.
Rashida, do you have my email address?
I have your email address. I'm going to send everybody
a
PowerPoint afterwards, and I'm going to put you in our mailing list, Karen. I will definitely send you our flyers.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
I got this great resource from Philadelphia called Philly, whatever. I've never heard of it, but it's just like a resource base, whatever. But I'm going to forward it to you so you can have it in your database.
Yeah.
So we are servicing people across the country.
Yes, we are.
So if you know someone in the Philadelphia area who are feeling like because they're disabled, they're blind, their needs aren't being met, and they are a woman, you know who to send them to.
Yes.
And we are not discriminating. Javon, with the lady that you're working with, what is she, like $1 million?
Yeah, she's an older West Indian lady. Yes.
And she lives in South Florida. So we're here and we're bridging those gaps, everyone.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Voiceover on Zoom.us. Zoom meeting.
Aja.
Window. Recording. As keyboard focus.
Come cut this off.
Jovan Campbell connected to audio. Image. Participants. 2. Expanded. Participants list. Invite button. Mute all button. More options to mute my audio. But audio submenu. Stop video button. Security. Opened. Close. Open chat. Share screen. Multiple share submit.
How do you end
Stop
this?
recording button. Stop recording.